All right, so we're pleased to have with us today the cosmic comic Swami BeyondAnanda, whose favorite yoga pose is tongue-in-cheek. And noted author Marianne Williamson has called Swami the Mark Twain of our times. And the Swami tells us he and Mark are two twains headed down the same twack, the laugh twack. And by the way, Swami's slightly more serious alter ego, Steve Behrman, has written a blog post for us on humor and mindfulness. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you can all open that link and look at it at some point. He's going to be writing a monthly blog series with us for about a year, so you can check it out every month for his new post. And now let's welcome one of the biggest names in comedy. Swami BeyondAnanda alone has 12 letters. So welcome, Swami BeyondAnanda. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you very much, too. And it's wonderful to be here. In fact, we have no choice because no matter where we are, we're always here. And it's always now. So show of hands, how many people would like to be in the now more? Up, too late, already done. Already done. If you want to be in the now, you have to be very, very quick. But I predict that living in the now will be the wave of the future. And time itself will become a thing of the past. I'm telling you, the calendar's days are numbered. I happen to know this because I was a futurist in a past life. Although now, I spend all of my time in the timeless now. I think they call that Alzheimer's. And I'm very happy to be with all of you mindful people. And of course, I'm mindful of the time, but I also want to let you know that if at the end anybody has a question, I am not one of these swamis who expects you to take what I have to say without questioning. And I appreciate Ray Oser's really very helpful presentation for helping us in these very challenging times. You know, here we are with this in this COVID situation, or new word, situation, and we're having this issue. You know, if you have been confined to close quarters with loved ones for the past 8 or 9 months, and your loved ones are still liked ones, you're doing great. You're doing great. Now, personally, I took full advantage of the situation. Social distancing, I figured if I'm going to do social distancing, I'm going to go to distance. So I took that time to take my intergalactic trip to the center of the Milky Way. And I don't know if you're aware of it. You know what I found at the center of the Milky Way? Chewy nougat. Chewy nougat at the center of the Milky Way. You're saying, no, that's Three Musketeers, but at Milky Way indeed. And of course, I've come all the way back here. And I think that the one thing that keeps us really thriving in a time when it's not easy to thrive is by having a positive attitude. So you will never hear me say that we are being locked down. That is a downer. I look at the upside. I say, no, we're being locked up. Doesn't that sound better? That sounds much, much better. I also really appreciated some of the tips that Ray gave about how we can thrive in these times. And I love the idea of micro changes. We maybe not make big changes, but these micro changes. And in fact, being in transformation myself, in constant transformation, I have mastered what I call micro transformation. It's how I will instantly dematerialize my entire physical body and rematerialize just like that. Want to see it again? Okay, well, anyway, so these are challenging times that we're in, and I really appreciate all of the things that people are doing to help us get through these micro habits and so on. Now, Ray also mentioned the inner critic. That is very, very key, and I've had a big problem with my inner critic, particularly when I found out that my inner critic is not as good as everybody else's. That was a big, devastating thing for me. So those are my problems. Of course, everybody's experiencing these big changes on the planet. And these are challenging times, and people are asking, they're genuinely in despair asking, is this the hand of God at work? Or just a middle finger? People don't know. And so it's important that we begin to recognize that we are living in times of great upheaval, not to mention downheaval. I have to tell you, compared to downheaval, upheaval is the lesser of two evils. Plenty of confusion, plenty of confusion. How many people are feeling confused? Anybody feeling confused? Okay. Show of hands, who's not sure? Yeah. You've heard of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? You're not even sure about that. I'm telling you, very, very challenging. And we've been told that a great shift will be taking place. A great shift. And of course, we are recognizing that in these times, 2020 was the year the shift hit the fan. And it is now up to us human beings to make the shift ourselves. And the new slogan for 2021, shift or get off the pot. Unless, of course, you need pot to shift, then well, stay on the pot for that matter, because they have discovered, and I'm sure you mindfulness people know that, they have discovered that actually we each have cannabinoid receptor sites in the brain. Did you know that? I think it's a part of the brain they call the hippocampus. The hippocampus, yes. When the hippocampus is stimulated, you see farce fields and laugh at invisible jokes. So as for me, I have to confess, you didn't ask. I tried it once, but I didn't exhale. And of course, in these very, very challenging times with great shift, people are looking to the great spiritual teachers. Now, of course, there's two kinds of mystics on the world: the optimistics and the pessimistics. Now, the pessimistics, they believe that they're more in touch with reality, but the optimistics are happier and live longer for some reason. The pessimists are saying, oh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. The optimists say, no, it just looks that way because we are ascending. And so that is why the work that all of you are doing, and in this whole field of mindfulness, particularly in these times, is a very positive thing, and I want to applaud you for that. You're creating a sane asylum right where you are. Very important in these crazy times. Now, as you know, we are so inundated with information in this information age that we are all suffering from what is called mindfulness. Mindfulness. And so the way that we achieve peace is to empty our mind through mindfulness. And this has been very powerful for me. I've been practicing this for a number of years. In fact, I went to a silent, 1 week long silent retreat. It was so quiet, you could hear an opinion drop. I'm telling you. And you people say, yeah, take a vow of silence. Now you're talking. That was a very, very powerful moment. But I have to tell you about the most peaceful individual I ever met. And it turned out that this individual was a therapist. He was a psychiatrist. And I met him, and I've never met anybody who had this look of glow and bliss on his face. And he obviously had been in practice for a number of years. I said, you look like you're so peaceful and vital. You've been practicing psychiatry for a long time. He says, yes, 25 years. And I said, wow, and you look like this. How can you spend 25 years listening to people's problems and look the way you do? And he said, who listens? So that is a sign, that is one way to be peaceful. If you want to take a vow of silence and not stop talking, that will make you peaceful and will make everybody around you more peaceful. But if you really want to experience peace, don't listen. Stop listening. Stop listening to bad news. Stop listening to negativity. I think that one of the keys to peace is to be positive. I have a new program called Just Say No to Negativity. With mindfulness, I went to a great mindfulness teacher, and he said his coaching was, if you want to be mindful and peaceful, you have to clear the mind of all thought, and you have to focus on the center of yourself. I did this, and it worked. I am now thoughtless and self-centered. Yeah, it works. And so the other thing is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice, very, very important to have a spiritual practice. I have with me today my power animal and spirit guide, Bullwinkle. And I'll tell you why. Because no matter, I see he's right here. I have him right here. I'll tell you why. Because no matter what your problem is, if you channel Bullwinkle to tell people your problems, it sounds funnier. Okay, so let's say you lost your job and you have no money. Channel Bullwinkle. I just lost my job and I have no money. That sounds funnier. And as you can see, I am wearing my Musafix. I have a bit of a Musafixation. I wear this all the time only because I had a dream and Jesus came to me in a dream and he asked me to wear this. I said, oh my God, what is it? He says, it means for Christ's sake, lighten up. Because the reason the world is in serious condition is because of our conditioning to be serious. Seriously. Seriously. A lot of things for people to be serious about. Now, take our political system. Please. We have a deeply divided body politic in this country. Half the people believe our system is broken. The other half believe that it's fixed. And so what has happened is that we've been divided into these two warring tribes, the red tribe Republicans, blue tribe Democrats, who spend all of their energy arguing about whether it is worse to kill the born or the unborn. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth has been stolen by a very, very, very small percentage of the uncommonly wealthy, and the bill has been sent to the not yet born. And so the solution, and this is how the healing has to take place in this country over the next 4 years, we must bring left and right, front and center to face the music and dance together, and together turn the funk into function and leave the junk at the junction. We need to bring red tribe and blue tribe together to sit in sacred circle and talk until they're purple in the face. Because only by being together as one purple people will the peeps outnumber the perps. That would be something to look forward to. Now, people ask me, what is your what is your spiritual practice? And I have to say, I am a fundamentalist with the accent on the fun. Not to be confused with the fundamentalist accent on the mental. You see the fundamentalists, they say heaven is above us. The fundamentalists say heaven is where we make it. So why don't we go for heaven on earth just for the hell of it? Because we are not here to earn God's love. We're here to spend it. We call this supply side spirituality. The secret to happiness, be more supplying and less demanding. Very, very important. Now, as a fundamentalist, I believe that life is a joke. I believe that God is laughing with us, not at us. The Creator is watching the comedy channel. We are what's on. And in fact, we are given free choice in life. We get to decide whether or not we laugh. So if you want to be miserable, go right ahead, whatever makes you happy. But I believe that underneath all of the stress and distress and sadness in life, there is a deep well of joy. And every time we let laughter bubble up out of that deep well, just as Ray had suggested, we create deep wellness. Okay, now maybe you've heard the story about Norman Cousins. He was a writer about 35, 40 years ago, diagnosed with a life-threatening condition. And instead of going to the hospital, he checked into a hotel room with candid camera reruns and Marx Brothers movies, and he got well. And when he cured himself, the medical establishment decided they are going to study the healing power of laughter, which is kind of like, well, it works in practice, but does it work in theory? Yes. Now, I know that these are serious times. I'm just curious, has anybody recently gone a day without laughing? Anybody? That is called irregular hilarity. Now, seeing a doctor won't help, but seeing a paradox will. Yes, yes, yes. You need a good laxative twice a day. That's the healing. Okay, anybody go a week without laughing? Well, you may be suffering from hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids is an enlargement of the onus, where you feel so much responsibility, the only thing you're ever able to pass is heavy judgment. Okay? So I think it's very, very important that we release all of that and we recognize that in looking at the healing power of laughter, the physiological benefits from laughing. Laughing for no reason is a good enough reason to laugh. Because when we laugh, it creates these hormones called endorphins, which are our natural painkillers. Laughing improves immune function. Laughter lowers the blood pressure. Because when we laugh, it causes our blood vessels to dilate better than having them die early. I wouldn't mind to dilate. Something else I heard that you're going to really love. Laughing actually burns calories. Yes, I have a new program. I'm calling it Laugh Your Ass Off. You can lose weightiness at the same time. Very powerful. Now, again, these are times of great stress, and people have been asking me on a more serious level, Swami, will there ever be peace on earth? And I have great news. There will indeed be peace on earth. I sure hope we humans are around to enjoy it. Yes? Yes? The big challenge right now, are we going to achieve critical mass before we reach critical massacre? That is the problem. And, and because we have been continually inundated, we've been living for the past 5,000 years on this planet by the rule of the lowest common denominator. And this has allowed the golden rule to be overruled by the rule of gold. The rule of gold is do unto others before they can do unto you. And this, as you can imagine, has left us with a lot of residue to metabolize. And so the challenge for our time, the great question is, can we undo the do that has been done? Or will the done do be our undoing? That is the big secret. And so if you're looking to create inner peace, it's very, very important that if you want outer peace rather, it's very important if you've been cultivating that inner peace to let that inner peace out and begin to share it. We call it all-out peace. Create all-out peace. That is very, very important that we do that in these very challenging times. Now, if you want to be peaceful, one of the great keys, I said earlier, one of the great keys is being positive. And the other great key to being peaceful is to allow ourselves to bless everything. This is, we talked about gratitude earlier. That is very, very important. But in the Buddhist tradition, you say, I am thankful for everything. Whatever it is that comes your way, you have to be grateful and bless it. And this is perhaps one of the biggest challenges. It's easy to be grateful for great things that happen, but it's not easy to be grateful for the ungreat things that happen, yes? And so the secret, bless everything. Bless everything. You're driving, the other driver cuts you off. Instead of going into road rage and doing tantrum yoga, you have to bless that driver. Take a deep breath and say, bless you. Bless you too. Go bless yourself. I'm telling you, this stuff really works. I did this the other day, and the other driver actually gave me half of a peace sign. So we're moving in the right direction. The words that we tell each other, the language that we use is very powerful and very important. And so if we want to create peace in the world, we need to remember that so much of our language is based on war metaphors. I mean, think about it. Who remembers the war on poverty? Remember that? Well, it's all over. The poor people surrendered. Well, then we've had the war on drugs and all of these other wars. And what we have to recognize is that if we keep using that metaphor, then we're going to stay on the battlefield. And so important for us nowadays to get off the battlefield and onto a new playing field. Very, very important. So, I mean, we have a beautiful, beautiful national anthem, right? Beautiful song. And yet we keep affirming bombs bursting in air, bombs bursting in air. I mean, really. And what is with these ramparts? Ramparts. I don't want to look at ramparts. I'm sorry. I think there's something very perverse looking at ramparts. Even if they are gallantly screaming, I don't want to look at them. Only ones you should be looking at ramparts are sheep, okay? Because we humans, let's face it, we've been ramming parts for far too long, and all of this rutting has gotten us into a rut. Because when you just have aggressive male energy in a country, we know what that feels like. You know what you have? Stagnation. Stagnation. And so what we need is the feminine energy to counterbalance and help us create and help us then make a donation. Yes. And help us use our imagination, which is one of the most underused tools in the toolkit, right? If we want things to be different, we have to first imagine them as different. My great guru, Harry Cohen Baba, the Garment Center, said, he used to say that life is like a good deli. Even if something isn't on the menu, if enough people order it, they have to make it. And so if you don't like what you're seeing on the little screen or the big screen, and you don't like the current programming, turn off your TV, television instead. Television. I television to you, and you television to me. And we have healing and functional visions to step into, and that beats what we've been stepping into. So I will television. I will television. I call it non-judgment day. On non-judgment day, everybody will win a beauty contest. On non-judgment day, all of the lawyers will disappear. We won't need them because our trials will be over. On non-judgment day, all of the nations at the United Nations will begin their session with the hokey pokey. Now imagine this, the Israelis and the Palestinians, they put their whole selves in, that is commitment. They pull their whole selves out, that is detachment. They turn themselves around, that is transformation, and that's what it's all about. Now, I have been watching, I've been looking at you on the screen, and what I am seeing is a bunch of really enlightened individuals. I have to say that. Not just because I see the aura, I see your auras. Several of you have recently had orgasms, so they're a little brighter, but I see your auras and I know you're enlightened. And so you already realize that each of us already has all of the answers within. It's matching them with the corresponding questions. That is the challenge. And so in the last few minutes, if anybody has an answerable question for the Swami will have a questionable answer for you. So Natalie, I'm hoping that you'll be able to manage this and see if anybody has a raised hand. Don't be afraid to ask a question. Don't be afraid to appear foolish. Look at me. Okay. Question.
Teresa, do you have a question?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Swami, this is Teresa, by the way.
Yeah, it's been 30 years. Yeah. 30 years, yes. Hi, Teresa.
30 years, yeah. What can animals teach us?
You know, there's great wisdom in animals. I see that you have a little puppy there. Mm-hmm. And this is really, and that one too. And this is very, very important because I actually have dogs are natural healers, right? I have a new program called Teach Your Dog to Heal because they are indeed healers. When you come in contact with a friendly dog, the body secretes hormones called peptides. And that releases stress. You know, that's why they bring, in dog saliva, there's actually something called love potion K9. And that is why they bring them into hospitals. There's an organization that brings dogs into hospitals to lick people into wellness. And that's called the Salivation Army. You may know this. Of course, there's an entire religion around having cats do the same thing. They're called the cat licks, of course. What we also know is animal intelligence. You know, we don't really recognize the intelligence. Dolphins are more intelligent than human beings. I don't know if you knew that. I'll give you an example. Dolphins do not have an underwater theme park called Land World, where they make humans catch hamburgers in their mouths. They don't do that. So that is the natural intelligence of animals. Yep. And there's another one. Okay. More questions. I have several answers left.
Well, Swami, I have a question.
Yes.
I cannot get my cat to obey me. He's very insubordinate, and I've been trying for a long time, many years, right? And can you help me to train
Absolutely
him to be
not.
obedient?
Absolutely not. You know, the thing is that one of the reasons why we have cats and dogs is because they're different. They're different. And one of the great differences of a cat is you can actually love something that can be indifferent to you. That's different. That's different. Loving something that is indifferent is different.
Yeah, they're very good at being indifferent.
And you know what? They are the greatest people trainers in the world. You know, I'm trained by the squirrels out there. They train me to put food out. And cats train people to do their bidding. I mean, really, who's going to empty a people litter box? Not many people. But look at you people. Unless you have a cat that you're willing to trust outdoors to become coyote chow, then you're basically looking after the cat. You're right behind the cat, so to speak. And so that is love. That is true love. So if you want to love unconditionally, have a cat.
So
Thank you, Swami.
I have a related question, Swami. My burning spiritual question is, how can we each bring more love into the world?
Okay. Now, this is the way to bring more love in the world without doing anything. So many people have asked me, Swami, I want to uplift the world. And you know what? They look like this. I said, okay, here's the beginning. You must uplift the corners of your mouth and a smile. This is called the levitational pull that helps you and everybody around you overcome gravity. Because, as you know, physiologically, if you study this, you know that all you need to do is this. Curl up your corners of your mouth and a smile, and guess what happens? Your body begins to secrete these feel-good hormones as if you're actually happy. So if you pretend to be happy, that will make you happy. Now, we live in a society that is based on the pursuit of happiness. Pursuit of happiness. And look at all these people running after happiness. And you look at some of those faces and you go, wow, they must have run right past it. So the idea is to bring love to the world, is to bring joy to the world. Put joy on your own face. And even your enemies will wonder, what's he up to? You know, that is how to do that. And so that's a simple thing that you can do. Bring laughter. Commit random acts of comedy. Commit random acts of comedy that cheer people up, make them laugh, make them smile, because that is like loaves and fishes. Laughter can keep reproducing itself on and on. One person can enter a room with a joke and 4,000 people can leave with it. It is miraculous. Miraculous. Okay.
Thank you so much, Swami. We have to end now because I want Raphael to leave us with some final thoughts, but I just wanted everyone to give you a round of applause because that was just so appreciated and welcome. We all need as much laughter as possible, so thank you.
Namaste. 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 Go. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right. So we just wanted to end this last talk of the year as we come to an ending of this 2020 year that has been such an interesting one for all of us. And one of the interesting things as clinicians that I've been reflecting on through all of the different experiences that we had through this year is that there's a beauty that we are in it. And a lot of the times, I have noticed that we could be with our clients and their anxieties and their worries, but this time we're actually in the same reality as everyone else with the pandemic, political climate, with the racial tension, everything that's happening this year. So for me, in looking into 2021 as an opportunity to be here and be a part of the network moving forward, and some of the great ideas that we have for the future, spaces for development, spaces for collaboration, spaces for us to continue to grow as individuals and clinicians. I think that the biggest thing for me right now, it's a moment to reflect, despite the challenges of 2020, and take away the beauties and the discovery of 2020. Because one of the things that I have discovered is the value of my family, how much I value the company of my wife, how much I value my ability to do this job, even through the distance. And also the beauty of the discovery of being able to not have limits with boundaries of geographical location to be in contact with people, be it clients, other professionals like we are here. Some of us are in different parts of the state, that if it was not because of this situation, we would not be here. I would not be here. And I know that for sure, because we were forced to use technology as a way to connecting. I think that I choose to see it as the beauty of the opportunity of connecting in more ways and expounding my idea of contact, and to be with another human through a screen, but at the end, it's another human on the other side. So there's for me, as we come to an end, the opportunity to reflect not just on the stress of 2020, but on the gifts of 2020, of the beauty of this year, and the opportunities of growth that we've been forced in some ways to take, because we all had to grow in some shape or form to get through this year. So I'm excited about next year. I'm excited about the possibility of being able to hug and shake hands again at one point. I'm excited about the possibility of being around others. But I'm also about the excited about us being here. So I look forward to the possibility of creating. I'm really excited to work with the group, Natalie, Jim, Josh, and everybody, because I think that this energy of this year will allow us to take full force into 2021. And we already have a few things in line, as Jim was sharing. I'm much more excited about how we can continue to create and grow, and just for us to finish today with an opportunity to look at the beauty of this year. And don't forget that in chaos, there's beauty as well. Thank you.